Listen, I'm about to do something that your favorite business credit or business funding guru probably won't. And that's release a supersized sample of exactly what you'll be getting in my training, which is Green Scale Academy. Because at the end of the day, when the value is present, there's absolutely no reason to hide it, right? But more importantly, over the past several years, one thing that has been made abundantly clear to me, some, and not all, but most of you guys are jumping in the deep with no swimming lessons. All right. And it's not working out the way you planned, right? In terms of getting funding for your business. And this includes applying for random business credit cards and random loans, right? Without having a clue how to build business credit or get business funding or how it works. So I'll be breaking everything down that you need to know from the moment that you even have the thought of conceiving and bringing in a new business into this world, all the way to the point where you are structuring your entity and positioning it to make sure that you can build business credit and scale, right? Scale your business and get the capital that it needs the right way. Because believe it or not, it's a lot harder than you may think. Before we get into this, I do want to give you a disclaimer. This is not your typical fast-paced training, right? I'm going to really take my time and teach you every intricate detail. So grab a pen and paper, right? You're stepping into my classroom, okay? I'm going to be not Professor McNeil, but I'm Mr. McNeil here in a second. Pause this video and save it to your watch later, just in case you need to step away. And then lastly, there's no such thing as a dumb question, guys. So drop a comment if there's anything that you want to say or add or even comment based on the content that you're about to consume. And I'll do my best to answer every single question as I always do. And then if you love my style of teaching and want more, you can visit greenscaleacademy.com. So we're going to make sure that no entrepreneur is left behind. The way we do that is starting from the ground level. And trust me, even if you feel like you already know some of the stuff that we're going to be covering in this week, it's always better to revisit these topics because you may learn something that you didn't know. All right, so let's get started. Now, what is business credit? So business credit is any credit that your business obtains in the name of the business or your tax identification number, like your EIN number. Now, the beautiful thing about business credit is it's mostly kept separate from your consumer credit report and your personal credit. Now, we're going to talk about this a little later, but, most of the time, whenever they're going to ask you for your social security number, it's because they want to have you as the business owner become a personal guarantor, which is optional. But when you begin your business credit journey and you start with opening a business account or your business itself, when you get it registered with the Secretary of State, now this itself creates a corporate veil, right? Where for legal purposes, if you become sued by a customer or even another business, you as the business owner are kept separate. Now, in terms of business credit, whenever your business receives a credit score, they're going to create something called a risk factor. And this risk factor is going to be basically predicting whether or not your business will ever go out of business anytime soon. And anything that you obtain, like any business credit or funding that you get, will be ultimately based on your ability, meaning your business's ability to repay its debt obligations and also any creditors or line of credit that you receive, right? Now, the objective of building business credit is to, of course, establish trade lines and payment experiences with various business credit reporting agencies. Now, why is business credit important? Well, it allows you to scale your business much faster than just relying on your own pockets, right? What's in your personal checking account. We don't want to rely on that. We want to rely on OPM, which is other people's money, other people's moolah, right? Next, it's going to maximize your borrowing potential with much higher credit limits, especially with the use of, business line of credit and also business credit cards. Next, you can obtain funding much faster than relying solely on your personal credit. And then you also are going to get a larger borrowing window than, if you, the owner, were to apply for personal credit alone, right? Now, with an established and strong credit profile, your business will qualify for vendor accounts, high limit credit cards, unsecured business lines of credit, and also loans. Put that together and you get unlimited capital. That is what the end goal will be, as long as you take all the knowledge that I'm giving you in this course and put it into action. Now, some without using the owner's personal credit. And again, that's called a PG, which we will get into here shortly in the coming modules for week 2. Now, I just want to talk about personally how business credit has changed my life. All right. When I first started my business many years ago, I actually learned about business credit after the fact, and I wish I learned about it before. So if you're someone who just started a business, like just started one, or you're in the process of starting one, I want to let you know you are lapping many small businesses who have been out here for let's say 6 months, 12 months, or even 2 or 3 years. So you can pat yourself on the back right there. Now, for me, just to give you a couple examples, right? I was able to use business credit to invest in myself through courses, just like the one that you just purchased, right? That you're viewing right now. I've been to many different networking events and conferences, and also I've paid for mentorships, right? All using my business credit, because at the end of the day, my business will only excel if I excel, right? When I invest in myself and I improve on my intangibles and my abilities and my knowledge, my business will only grow, will only pretty much, go as far as I'm willing to push myself. So that's the first thing that business credit did. Now, next, it also allowed me to scale my business without using my own money. It also allowed me to furnish investment properties. When I got into Airbnb, I'm not going to lie, one of the most exciting things to me was ordering all of this, furniture and stuff off of Amazon, off of Wayfair business credit, and knowing that I'm building business credit while setting up my own business for success. And of course, it's a lot easier to just use a business credit card or a business line of credit to furnish a property, knowing in a couple of weeks or a couple of months, not only will you pay that off, but you did so without using a single penny from your own penny bank. Now, it also allowed me to, do the same thing with an event space, right? A lot of you are very familiar with these two businesses, right? Next, I had a drop shipping business, right? And when I first started my drop shipping business, I used personal credit cards and I saw my personal credit scores go in the dump. Even though I was making a lot of money, I had a lot of profit month to month on both Walmart and Amazon, being a wholesaler and drop shipping. I realized once I was able to build and establish business credit and start utilizing my business credit lines, it no longer impacted my personal credit. And then with credit card churning, which we'll also talk about later, I saw my credit limits go high. I mean, it was unbelievable what I was able to do. And, at the time I was trying to purchase a crib, right? So I didn't have to worry about the DTI from these credit cards impacting my debt to income ratio. And I was able to purchase a home, all because of business credit. Now, financing the inventory for my apparel business. I have a t-shirt business. I sell jerseys and pants, all kind of things with my brand, Self-Pay in the Shade. I was able to purchase my inventory wholesale using what? Business credit. Also enjoying the perks of traveling for free using my various award cards that I have from my business credit. Now, we're going to talk about that later as well. But when you begin, using your business credit cards for, your typical monthly marketing expenses, that's free money. That's free money that you can then turn into whether it be gift cards or flights or vacation stays at your favorite hotels. That's another beautiful thing. But at the end of the day, I had access to unlimited capital, which removed all limitations, which keeps me open to new opportunities. Now, I technically don't like the phrase serial entrepreneur, but I do have a lot of businesses or a lot of different services that I'm able to start and introduce to my business because I have this unlimited capital, and soon you will be too. See you in module 2. Welcome back. We are now in module 3 for week 2. Now let's talk about your game plan. Success depends upon previous preparation, and without such preparation, there is sure to be failure. And that's by Confucius. Strategic planning is a prerequisite for longevity. No different than sports, your performance in business is limited by how solid of a game plan you have. You should lead with impact. So don't worry about income. When you lead with impact, your impact will become dollars. Trust me. So the game plan, aka the mindset that you have, plus the business plan, aka the research that you do, will be your success plan. Now, there's 3 keys to a solid business plan. Number 1, it must be inspiring. You must have an inspiring mission statement, which will eloquently display your purpose, make it very clear what your purpose is. Next, you're going to need a bulletproof SWOT analysis, and this is going to be your roadmap. And then lastly, a thoughtful pest analysis, which is going to be all about the larger companies. And we're going to get into that very quickly if you don't know what SWOT analysis and pest analysis is. Now, let's talk about the mission statement first. Now, your mission statement will be a concise explanation of the organization's reason for existence. It should be simple and to the point. It should give your company personality, and a brand identity will be birthed out of that mission statement, along with making a lasting impression. The best examples of mission statements, let's go ahead and cover 5 of those. Let's talk about Starbucks. Now, these are the mission statements for each business. So Starbucks' mission statement is as follows: to inspire and nurture the human spirit. One person, one cup, and one neighborhood at a time. Now, what does that make you feel? Like, how does that make you feel? Like, what's the takeaway from that? Right? The first thing that stands out to me was human spirit and wanting to do that one person, one cup, and one neighborhood at a time. That makes me feel like, does Starbucks care about me as a consumer? So next, let's talk about Microsoft. To empower every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more. So what Microsoft did there is they made it very clear what their purpose is, what their whole purpose for existing is. And also they made it very clear who their audience is, right? Every person and every organization. They're trying to make the planet achieve more. So instantly, they've identified themselves as a global brand. Okay, you see how they were able to brand themselves as a global brand, just that simple, with one sentence, straight and short to the point. Target: help all families discover the joy of everyday life. All right. This is why women, you can't stay away from Target, because every time you go in there with the empty cart, it's full. You go in there to get soap, you leave out with a whole cart full of stuff. It's because they want to make it a joyous environment. And let's be real, does Walmart do that? I doubt it. So Southwest Airlines, connect people to what's important in their lives through friendly, reliable, and low-cost air travel. Friendly, reliable, low cost. Those are the three words that I took away from that mission statement. And then lastly, let's talk about Nike. Bring inspiration and innovation to every athlete in the world. If you have a body, you're an athlete. I love that last line because they start by letting you know who their target audience is. They want to target every athlete. This is an athletic brand. So they have effectively branded themselves, but then they hit you with the if you have a body, you're an athlete. So they're letting you know you don't have to be an NBA player or a collegiate athlete, or you don't even have to be athletic. You just have to have a body. And as long as you have a body, you are their customer. So that's a great mission statement by Nike. So, what is a SWOT analysis? A SWOT analysis is a strategic planning technique used to help an organization identify strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats related to business competition or project planning. All right, so that's what the S, the W, the O, and the T stands for: strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. All right, so let's talk about the first letter, S, which stands for strengths. Now, these 4 bullet points just tell you what you want to be considering when you're making that SWOT analysis and you're trying to focus on your strengths, right? Things your company does well, qualities that separate you from your competitors, internal resources such as skilled, knowledgeable staff, tangible assets such as intellectual property, capital, proprietary technologies, and etc. Right? So, right now, what you're viewing is something that is considered my intellectual property. I created this course all by myself. So, because of this, I can put this in the S column. When I do my business plan, I say one of my strengths is I have the ability to create educational content. Now, these are the questions you should be asking yourself when you're trying to discover your strengths. If you say you don't know, you're not sure, just simply answer these 4 questions. The first is, what does your company do better than others in your industry? Next, what's your unique selling proposition? How are you going to sell things differently? Like what makes you unique? What's your unique selling proposition? What skills do you possess that gives your company an advantage? And what are your most positive brand attributes? All right. Next, let's talk about weaknesses. That's going to be the W, right? What are some of the things your businesses lack? Things that your competitors do better than you. Resource limitations and unclear unique selling propositions. Now, here are some questions that you should be asking yourself to help figure out what weaknesses your company may have. What could your company improve on? What are the most negative things about your industry? What are the biggest challenges you face related to sales? What advantages do your competitors have over you? And this does include resources you may lack. And what are some triggers that will cause customers to cancel your service or be unhappy? Next, we're talking about opportunities. Now, few competitors in your area, right? Emerging need for products or services. Maybe you have a lack of press or media coverage for your company. Now, these are some questions to ask yourself to figure out what those opportunities may be. What are some potential services or products you can add to create more streams of income within your business? What are some ways you can improve customer satisfaction? What does scaling your business actually look like? Right? That's a very important one. What does it look like to you? What does scaling your business really look like? And growing your team, expanding your inventory or new locations, right? Is that what scaling looks like to you? You got to figure that out. What are the opportunities? And then lastly, threats. The T stands for threats, right? Emerging competitors, negative press potentially. If what are they saying about your business, right? What could they say about your business? And then changes in regulatory environment, changes in customers' attitudes towards your company. So here's a few questions you can ask. Is there anything that could stop your business temporarily or permanently? This is really big, really important for you to figure out. Both internal and external threats. So don't just think, what are some things that you can do? What are some things that you can't even control that could stop your business? If another COVID happens and there's another shutdown, could that stop your business? Could that threaten the likelihood or livelihood of your business? Research competitors, both new and old, to see what they did or what they are doing that could potentially become a threat to you. And is there anything that could stunt the growth of your business? All right, next we're going to talk about PEST. This is what we call the PEST analysis. This is where you first look at the political factors. So, political factors measure the degree of political stability and government intervention in your economy. S, the social factor, right? Social factors have a great impact on the buying patterns or behaviors of a nation, which is important determinant for businesses. Think about this. Is there anything that could literally change the buying patterns of the people in your industry or the consumers in your industry? And then last, technological factor. Now, technological aspect includes factors like the level of R&D, automation, innovation, and other related factors. This may not pertain to a lot of businesses, but this pest analysis can come in handy, like for real, to identify things that you definitely may have missed in the SWOT analysis. Now, as you're going through your game plan, aka your business plan, and you finish the SWOT analysis and you also finish the pest analysis, this will help you place your dollars in the right places because that does take a certain strategy. You don't want to just start investing wildly before you even do any type of due diligence and research. Okay. Now, your business plan will help you identify how to use capital and funding wisely because we're going to talk about business credit. I'm going to teach you how to build and establish capital. But again, it's a tool. So you don't abuse it with reckless abandon. And that's what your business plan is going to help you do. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail, right? So run the play and execute the game plan efficiently. Welcome back to Module 2 of Week 2. In this module, we're going to be talking about starting that business. All right, so the problem solver. Every single one of us have the ability to create a successful business. All we got to do is just figure out a problem and then create and sell the solution to that problem. Now, I want you to think about a few options. You can already see them up, but I'm going to go by one. So let's talk about Uber Eats. Now, who is Uber Eats customer? Who are they targeting? And what problem are they providing a solution to? Right? So Uber Eats is for people who still want to eat out, don't feel like cooking, but maybe they don't have a car or transportation to get the food. Or sometimes like me, I'm already busy on working. I don't have really time to step away and get food. So Uber Eats is providing a new opportunity for me to still be able to eat good without leaving the comfort of my home. Now, the second person that is also benefiting from Uber Eats, restaurants who typically suffer whenever there's, let's say, rain or there's some sort of situation where a lot of clients are not able to get to them. So they can still serve those same customers who want to eat their food, but now we can still provide people the food they want and make the profit or the goal for the day thanks to Uber Eats, right? Now, the second part of it is all of these people, small entrepreneurs who are baking cookies or making fish plates. They have a small business, but they don't have the brick and mortar. So you can actually start a whole new business by starting, let's say, a ghost kitchen business, right? If you had an event space that has a commercial kitchen, there are other small businesses or freelancers who like to, whether it be bake or cook, and they want to provide a service to people, but they don't have the kitchen. Now you are solving a problem for whether it be a small restaurant that typically does pop-up shops. Now they can put themselves on a Uber Eats and still get paid. Exhibit number one, you maybe need to do a little research about Mr. Beast. So Mr. Beast is one of the biggest YouTubers, and he makes multi million dollars through his YouTube channel. But he also came out with something called Mr. Beast Burger.
I literally just opened 300 restaurants all across America, but we only serve people through delivery apps. Basically, open up whatever you use and search Mr. Beast Burger. And we even have our own app, Mr. Beast Burger. And you could order anything from our amazing and delicious menu. And we have hundreds of locations all across America. Just open up your favorite delivery apps and search Mr. Beast Burger.
Now, Mr. Beast Burger is probably in your city if you look it up on Uber Eats. The thing is, he doesn't really have a restaurant. He only has one location, and that's in his hometown in North Carolina. Yet, you can purchase Mr. Beast Burger across the nation because he has partnerships with Ruby Tuesdays and all these other restaurants. They share a kitchen. They make the Mr. Beast Burger and fries, and they're able to use them to make profit off of each other, all thanks to Uber Eats. The next one, let's talk about Airbnbs. This solves a problem for people who don't want to worry about being bothered with checking in, checking out at a really busy hotel. They like their privacy. They may like a secluded area. They may want a whole home that they can rent and be able to have the peace and quiet that they're looking for, plus have the ample space that they want. Then on the flip side, they're solving a problem for somebody who has that home that is currently a liability that now, thanks to Airbnb and other platforms, they can now turn their home into a cash flowing asset, right? So Airbnb is another great one that solves a problem for two demographics. And then last, let's talk about, well, not last, but let's talk about Ring, right? So we know about the fact that Amazon back in the day bought Ring for a lot of money, and it's a camera that you put on your doorbell. So people who may already have a security, but they want to be able to figure out who is coming to their door when they're not home, who is coming to their door when they are out of town, whether it's a FedEx or UPS driver delivering a package. They can even press a button and speak to them. That's huge. That's a problem that a lot of rental residents or homeowners needed. And then lastly, a mobile barbershop. There was a guy that I saw who I went to school with back in the day. During the pandemic in 2020, he rented, or I'm not sure if he rented or purchased, but long story short, he got like a RV, slapped his logo on it, inside put some mirrors up, put some nice barber chairs, and he went from door to door cutting people's hair in their driveway in the middle of COVID-19. Like, that is the definition of figuring out a solution to a problem and then selling that problem or selling that solution to the masses. Now, next, you also want to make sure you perfect your craft. You want to invest time and money to become the expert in what you do. When I started my credit repair business, I didn't feel comfortable taking a single dollar unless I took the time to learn everything there was to know about credit repair and FICO scores. And because of that, I was able to produce the type of results than many other fly by night credit repair businesses because I perfected my craft. And you should do the same no matter what your business is. Next, the word expert is used far too frequently, right? It is to be earned. So don't start a business and then automatically call yourself an expert again. Take the time to perfect your craft and leave no stone unturned. A lot of us have businesses and we don't realize that this one service that we're providing to our clients can easily be multiplied into multiple services. Like we talked about in week one, right? Stop thinking about all these individual streams of income and think about how you can literally increase your pond, increase it until it's a lagoon, until it's an ocean, right? Increase the bottom line. Become the mayor of your city. So, with me being an entrepreneur in the credit space, I want to be able to walk through the grocery store and people stop me and say, hey, that's that credit guy, or that's that guy from YouTube, right? You want to become the mayor of your city when whatever your business is, right? Think about your specialty. When people in your city think about that, so if you're a painter, when people think about painting and someone to paint the interior of a home, they have to think of your name. That way, all of your previous clients will automatically feel obligated to refer you to all of the people they know because of how great of a job you did. And another way you do this is you get out and you meet people and you communicate. You wear your logo on your back, you wear your logo on your car, you get on social media and you target the people in your community. All right, you want to be that guy or gal. If you do lashes, then you should be the lash queen. All right, there should be no person in your network or in your inner circle or anyone in your city that when they need lashes, they don't think of you. They don't see your face or see your name pop up in their head. All right, that's going to be a big thing that will help you succeed. Next, what is your passion? All right. The answer to this question will be the one thing that keeps you dedicated to your business. What will keep you going when times get rough, when customers become irate, when they become difficult to deal with, and the work feels overwhelming? You got to go back to the answer to that first question. What is going to keep you going? What is your why? 20% of new businesses fail within the first 2 years, and 45% during the first 5 years, 65% during the first 10 years, and only 25% of new businesses make it to see 15 years or more. Like, let's think about that, guys. What is your passion? Now, when you know better, you do better. So here are the top 6 reasons new businesses fail. Number 1, no capital or financing, right? Lack of OPM. But this course is going to teach you how to avoid that. Not understanding their market, the need, demand, and timing of their niche, of their industry to their customers. Either a weak business plan or no business plan. Being ill prepared is one of the leading reasons why businesses fail. Scaling too fast, right? Remember, you need to master each role and then build systems before you go adding all these new services. Poor marketing or a digital footprint. If you don't have a digital footprint, like if I can't Google your business and I see multiple results, then that's poor marketing. You got to work on that, but we're going to talk about that shortly. And having a complacent mindset. Even when you are successful, even when you're rolling in dough and you have so many leads coming in that you can't keep up, I don't want you to ever fall victim to becoming comfortable and having that complacent mindset. Stay hungry, my friends. That's the way that your business will continue to scale. And then lastly, finding your niche, right? Your niche, however you call it. Why should anyone choose your company over another? Example, For me, with my credit repair service, my motto is credit made simple. I have a gift of teaching. So when I speak to my clients, I let them know I'm not just going to be repairing your credit, I'm going to educate you. I'm going to make sure you have a healthy credit profile because it's not just about the scores, it's the full picture, it's the full credit profile. And that's what keeps me separate from a lot of these other, fly by night credit report or credit repair agencies. Now, consistent theme, we're green scale credit. So if I were to pull up my website right now, you're going to see green everywhere. You're going to see me in a green shirt. You're going to see the logo on everything. And so I try to keep a very consistent theme. Whatever your theme is, it doesn't have to necessarily be color. But when you go to my website, even the font on every single web page you go to is the same. All right. Consistency is key. Know your target audience, demographic, and industry. Do your due diligence. Get to know your audience. People buy from people. I repeat, people buy from people. So your company should be a reflection of you. And testimonials should highlight how you made the customer feel. So it's not just about results. It's not just about doing what they paid you to do. You need to give them an experience. You need to make them feel good because, as Maya Angelou once said, people will not remember what you did to them, but they'll remember how you made them feel. I probably said that wrong, but you get the picture. Lastly, this is all done by also telling your story. So, telling your story is what's going to get people to want to work with you and to want to buy from you. All right. You are a person. And again, people buy from people. All right, guys, welcome back. This is now module 4 of week 2, and we're going to talk about name and location. Say my name, say my name. All right. The very first step in building business credit is having a business or starting one, right? So we already kind of talked about that in the last module, but now we're going to talk about naming that business because your name is everything. So please choose wisely. Now you got to put thought into it because your name should have meaning related to your mission statement, right? And the way you want to do this, if you don't already have a business, is by simply searching on the Secretary of State's website to make sure you can reserve that name, or you may find out that it's taken. Not a big deal. If it is, you just need to choose something else, maybe something similar. But this is also going to go hand in hand with a trademark because later on you may decide to trademark your business, and you can also do both of those by going to Google and first by searching using this search phrase for your state, whatever your state is. So if you're in Florida, you want to do business search Florida. This is going to take you to the Secretary of State's website where you can then verify if that business name is already taken. If it isn't, make sure you go ahead and reserve it. If not, then you may need to choose something different. Same thing for the trademark. Go to Google and then simply type in trademark search and then Florida. So let's go ahead and do that so I can show you an example. And so I'm going to type business search Florida, right? So this is going to take me to where it says dos.myflorida.com, search business records. And this is where I'm going to be able to search. I can literally search the name of any business right here. Same thing for trademark. So let's go ahead and do the same search. So we're going to go to trademark search Florida. And here is where you're going to be able to search the trademark name. Same thing, right? Whether you're searching a business or the trademark service, right? Free trademark search. They have multiple different places where you can search the trademark. So you want to go there, make sure you do that first before you do anything else. And then you want to go ahead and get that domain. Your domain is your .com name. That's the name of your website. Yeah, there's multiple different websites, but I would recommend going to GoDaddy.com. You can do the same thing there. So let's go ahead and do that. Go to GoDaddy.com and you can search to find your domain right here at the top. Domain names. Search for domain names that you want. Type in, let's say you want to start a business called, let's say, Bubbles Pet Care. All right. Okay. So it says your domain is available, but under the .co domain. .co is different from .com. So because it's showing us the .co first, that means .com is most likely taken. So let's go ahead and verify. Let's type in bubbleспetcare.com. So as you see, it looks like the bubbleспetcare.com isn't actually in use, but when it takes you to this page, it means that the domain is already used or already purchased, but it's expired. So if you really wanted that, you could try to reach out to whoever has that bubbleспetcare.com and buy it from them. Otherwise, you can just go with bubbleспetcare.com, or you can go with bubblespetcare.org or .net or .info. Okay, so this is something that is going to be important when you are choosing your business name. Go ahead and get that domain. All right, next we're going to talk about DBAs. What is a DBA? A DBA stands for doing business as, which is a fictitious name or trade name that is unique, that is a unique secondary or alternative business name. So let's talk about two examples. The first example is IBM. So most of us who were born before the 2000s, we all know about IBM, which it stands for International Business Machines Corp. IBM is what we know it as. That's the DBA, right? How about Sears? Sears is the actual DBA of Sears, Roebuck and Company. Now, filing a DBA for your business does give you permission to operate under a different name than the one that you filed legally with the Secretary of State. Now, DBAs are not separate legal entities, but you have to apply for them separately with the state that your business was formed in. And DBAs should not be used to build business credit or apply for funding. Now, can you? Technically, yes, but it's just going to cause chaos because doing so will eventually create a disaster because you'll have multiple credit profiles, and these credit profiles are going to stop one or multiple of your trade references from reporting. So if you don't want to be one of those people complaining about stuff never reporting for them, just stick to building business credit with your main, top corporation. Now, common reasons to file a DBA would be, doing business under a shortened or abbreviated name, right? That matches, let's say, your domain. That would be one reason. Another reason is because you want to, let's say you have a new service and you want this DBA to represent your new service. So, for example, I have Greenscale Credit, and then I also have GSC Funding. Now, GSC Funding is a DBA. That's a great name to represent my funding service that I provide, which we'll talk about in like week 5 or 6. Now, banks typically require sole proprietors and partnerships to have a DBA to open a business account. Now, this is just one reason why I don't recommend having a sole prop when building business credit. But if you really wanted to, you would have to go ahead and get that DBA. Now, filing a DBA also creates a public notification and record for that fictitious name. Now, you also want to avoid creating what I call the DBA family tree. And you can do this by only creating a maximum 1 or 2 additional names for your business if you absolutely need it. Do not get in the habit of just creating DBAs because you like creating AKAs for your business, right? Now, a family tree is like, imagine you have your corporate name, which is the umbrella, and then you create under that top business 4 or 5 businesses or 4 or 5 DBAs underneath that. That can become a headache. That's why I say to stop yourself from creating a family tree. One, maybe two DBAs is appropriate. Otherwise, you may just need to create separate entities. Now, DBAs are required in most jurisdictions prior to doing business under that other name. So if you're already doing business under a DBA or abbreviated name or something like that, you may want to consider filing that DBA to make it official. Now, during the process, what happens is a lot of times, based on your state, they will require you to have paid publications running for consecutive weeks in your local newspaper in order to, have that DBA become official, right? To have it certified. So just to keep that in mind, it's not an overnight quick thing. It can be tedious, but it's definitely worth it if you absolutely need a DBA. Now let's talk about location. Your business address, right? That's going to be one of the biggest decisions that you make, and it's going to open doors or close them. Like, let's just, put that into perspective. Let's talk about the different types of business addresses that people frequently use. Home addresses for home office, brick and mortar buildings, or virtual offices. We'll talk about it. The business address should be the exact same on all documents, paperwork, and any applications that you fill out. I want to go ahead and tell you that now in the beginning. Always remember this because I'm going to talk about it frequently. All right. Now, avoid using P.O. boxes, UPS addresses, and other small locations like that where you Google your business address and it's going to show a UPS location. That's called a virtual address, not a virtual office, and you want to avoid those, as well as using P.O. boxes, because it will automatically put a red flag by your business name when you're applying for funding. That's considered high risk. Lenders prefer physical business locations, okay? They want to see that if your customers need to come to you, they have a location that they can go to whether it be sort out issues or that you can be served appropriately. So that's why it's really important to have a physical location. And just know, when you are registering your business, even if you have already done so, whoever you chose to be your registered agent, their name and address is on your public business record. So if you chose yourself as the registered agent, that's okay, as long as you're okay with any and everyone having access to see where you live when they look up your business. Now, if you absolutely need a brick and mortar, we're going to talk about how to find one on a limited budget. But guys, keep in mind, you need to crawl before you walk. And you need to ask yourself, is having a brick and mortar right now at the start of my business even necessary? Okay. Now, if it is, you don't want to waste money in the beginning, right? You don't need some huge, fabulous place in a great area. You want to consider looking in less desirable, the less desirable part of towns, right? To save money, you find you something that's in your budget. Or if you don't need a brick and mortar, you can either ask the owner of a business that you already know if you can rent one of their mailboxes, or if you need somewhere to do business but you can't afford a full building, maybe you can rent an executive office or a commercial suite. Now let's talk about e-commerce and people who have a home business. Using a home address as the principal office is a no-no. I'm just going to go ahead and tell you that right now. You should not do that ever. Now, how important is privacy to you? You know what I'm saying? That's what you have to think about. If privacy is not a big deal, then go ahead, use your home address as your principal office, but I would only recommend doing so if you actually do business out of your home. Like if you're doing hair and you have people coming to your home and you got a whole hair salon set up in your garage, then yeah, sure, why not? But just keep in mind, whatever your principal office address is, whatever you list it as, will be made as public information. Some banks, not all, do not lend to home-based businesses, but you will still be eligible to build business credit and obtain funding. So don't be scared. I have multiple e-commerce businesses and I've had no issues getting funding. Now remember, Amazon and Apple was started in a garage. So don't feel like you are less than or your small business is too small if you start out at home and you want to use a virtual office if you do prefer privacy. Now, let's talk about virtual offices. What is a virtual office? Well, when a brick and mortar isn't in the budget or just flat out doesn't make sense for your business, a virtual office is the best alternative. Now, not to be confused with a virtual address, a virtual office is a physical location that allows you to share a corporate building as the location of your business. Now, virtual offices often include, but are not limited to, physical address for your business, mail forwarding, lobby directory listing, a registered agent, a receptionist, a workspace and conference rooms for rent, etc. Now, I'm about to show you my virtual office. That way you can kind of paint the picture of exactly what you can expect from your virtual office.
Now, this is going to be the most important thing that I can actually show you. All right. So we are walking past my virtual office. Okay. Now, you would probably think that this is something that a billionaire would own or something like that, right? But this is what you will see if you Google my business. All right. This whole entire building. Okay. Now, this is what we call a real virtual office. So whenever you're going to Alliance Virtual Office and you're going to when you're going to Da Vinci Virtual Office, you're going to be looking at these buildings. I'm going to take you guys inside. We're going to take a look at everything. But before we even do that, I want you to take this all in. All right. Virtual office versus virtual address. Now, it is not recommended to get a virtual address. Okay. Virtual addresses are only just that. It's an address. Okay. It's not an office. It is the cheapest option, the virtual address, but it only includes mail and packaging services. That's all you will ever get. There's very few office buildings, mostly random UPS locations and suites. So I don't know about you guys, but I would find it embarrassing if somebody Googled my business and the location showed some random shack in the middle of a neighborhood. Because that's what you're paying for when you get a virtual address. You don't, most of the time, you don't get to choose. And even if you do choose, you do want it to look good, right? Again, you don't want random UPS locations to pop up when somebody looks up your address. You want them to see a very nice office building. And when you just pay for those virtual offices, many of those websites, the iPostals and things like that, like it just doesn't give you those options. And it often confuses customers. Where is Waldo? I can't be the only person that's ever looked up a business, wanted to go to that business, and then you put it in the navigation, it drives you to a location, and then you're like, where's the business? I don't see it. It's because that business paid for a virtual address, not a virtual office. Now you got customers driving all over the place looking for a business that feels like it doesn't exist. But hey, to each his own. But this does not fool lenders, right? If you cannot conduct business at your location, my friend, it's not a good virtual office. So a virtual office, right? It allows you to rent what I'm renting right now. This right now, what I'm standing is a place that allows me to film. I can do a business call or a business meeting. I can have my colleagues come, my team. We can sit here and we can have a discussion and figure out whatever we're trying to do next, right? That's a virtual office. A virtual address is something that just sends you and forwards you mail. That's the only thing you're really going to get from a virtual address. Now, only use a virtual address if you cannot afford a virtual office to start out. Now, even though I just gave you all the reasons not to do a virtual address, if you're really like limited on cash and it's the only thing you can afford at the beginning, it's fine. Maybe for your first year, you can do a virtual address and then graduate and upgrade to a virtual office if you never plan to have an actual brick and mortar. But just know what you're getting into, and that again, this does not fool lenders. So only do this if you don't plan to apply for funding. But this course, the fact that you got this course says that you will be. And so that's why I do not recommend getting a virtual address. Don't waste your money.
Now, my two recommendations for virtual offices are Alliance Virtual Offices and DaVinci Virtual Offices. So let's go ahead and look at, for example, DaVinci. Now, I use DaVinci personally for my virtual office. And you saw how that looked, right? So what happens is you just come here and you type in a location. So let's say Atlanta, Georgia. And look, these are all of the virtual addresses, virtual offices, excuse me, that are available. So if I see this, I'm like, oh, this looks nice. Oh, I like this city view. It tells me how much it is per month. And this is what you're gonna see when someone Googles your business. So just keep looking. This place, you may say, oh, I'm actually looking for somewhere where I can interview people, and this looks pretty neat. This looks pretty cool. So let me go ahead and click in and see what this looks like, and they will show you pictures. This is how the inside of this virtual office looks. This is where you can conduct interviews, or if you want to call your team in for a meeting, this is what you're going to pay for. It's $111 per month, $150 one-time setup fee, and this is everything that you're going to get. You get mail forwarding, you get a lobby greeter to welcome your walk-in clients. You get a lobby, your lobby directory listing. If you've ever had an interview and you went downtown and you had to look at that long list on the right next to the elevator to say, okay, this business is on the fifth floor. That's what that is. You get business support. You get private day offices. Rates will vary based on location. And then, of course, you get the most important thing, which is the use of an address for your website, business cards, etc., along with one complimentary online notary to complete the required U.S. form, postal form 1583. So if you are in need of a virtual office, go ahead and go to tinyurl.com/alliancevo or tiny.com/DaVinciVO and go ahead and find the virtual office that matches what you are looking for. All right, welcome back. This is now module 5, and this is where we're going to talk about setting up shop. All right, so number 1, choosing the right entity. So we already talked about your business plan, your business name, and your business address. All 3 of these should already be taken care of or at least figured out at this point. The name of the game is separation, separating your business from your personal. Now, there are 5 total legal entities: sole prop, partnership, S corp, C corp, and then LLC, which stands for a limited liability corporation. Now, the 3 that I recommend just for the purpose of building business credit and having access to the best funding is either an LLC, an S corp, or a C corp. Now, choosing the right entity. This is what we're going to continue to talk about. Now, why are LLCs, S corps, and C corps the only ones that I recommend? Well, number 1, the business owners and shareholders of LLCs and corporations are limited from personal liability from any lawsuits and or debts. Now, when you choose an entity, I want you to consider 5 things. Number 1, the tax benefits and payment methods of the entity, meaning how you will pay yourself or be required to pay yourself. 2, the level of protection you get. 3, the simplicity or the convenience of having this corporation type or entity type. 4th, your growth potential. And then 5, your funding capability. Now let's talk about the pros of business entity types. So let's jump over to sole props and informal partnerships. That way it doesn't feel like I'm just beating down sole props. There are some pros, one of them being the pass-through taxes. Another is easy to form and it's easy to operate with no formalities. However, let's talk about LLCs. LLCs, which are my favorite. Now they are also easy to operate with few formalities. And then there's federal tax flexibility, gives you a lot of flexibility, right? The way it can be taxed, because it can be taxed as a sole prop C corp or S corp, depending on the designation. There's good liability protection and unlimited number of owners you can have in the LLC. But then you got the C corps and the S corps. So the C corps are good because you can have an unlimited number of shareholders. There's also no restriction on types of owners you can have. You can issue different classes of stock to your shareholders. And also there's excellent liability protection and unlimited growth potential. But then we have the S corporations. Now, just like C corporations, there is excellent liability protection. You actually have once a year you can file tax, right? That's the requirement is once a year tax filings. Now your shareholders share in the company, your losses on taxes. That's one thing that would be considered a pro is your shareholders get to share in the company all of the losses on taxes. And the name of the game, of course, with taxes is to pay less. Like, let's just call it what it is. Now you can sell a stock to raise funds, which is one cool thing about S corps. You have the pass-through entity, which means no double taxation, and the flexible distributions on salaries and dividends. Now let's talk about the cons to stay on S corps. Now your shareholders are limited to the U.S. citizens or permanent residents. And then with the S corp, it does limit the number of shares. Like you can only issue up to 100 shares when it comes to your S corps. And all states do not offer S corporations as an entity, so you can't even, depending on where you live, get an S corp. C corps, there is a such thing as double taxation. If you're not doing things properly, you can hurt yourself in the long run. Now, there's no shareholder deductions of corporate losses. So if you're a shareholder, you can't, use that to your advantage. But there are lots of government oversight as well with the C corps. Now to LLCs, right? Your earnings can be subject to self-employment tax. That right there is something that is like the number one reason most LLC owners think about switching to either a C corp or a S corp. Now, you do also have limited growth potential, right? Because as an LLC, you cannot issue shares to raise funds. You are only limited to using your own unlimited capital that we're going to be talking about later on. And then with sole props, there's no liability protection whatsoever. So if someone sues your sole prop or your partner, you are going to be personally held liable, which is never fun. Self-employment tax is assessed on all profits, and there's no way to raise funds other than taking on debt, which is what we spoke about earlier in terms of business credit and why it's really a no-go. The LLC, C corp, or S corp should be the only thing you consider if you really mean business in terms of getting the funding that you may need to succeed. So let's talk about the big three. The advantages and disadvantages. We kind of, sporadically went over everything, but I want to nail this down. So an LLC, a limited liability company, can be owned by its individuals, corporations, or other LLCs. LLCs require less paperwork and it's less complicated than corporations. LLCs are not taxed at the corporate level, so there is no double taxation. However, LLCs owners often find themselves unknowingly overpaying on taxes without proper guidance. That's why it's very important for you to seek a professional's advice on how or which entity to choose. Now, owners of LLCs also file their business income on their personal tax return and are subject to paying that additional 15.3% self-employment tax. Now, let's talk about the C corporation, which is considered the most popular form of entity. Now, C corporations have an unlimited number of shareholders. So if you are interested in becoming a big corporation and raising capital through shareholders, then this is going to be the option for you. Now, a C corp gives off a grand professional appearance for your lenders. It can be transferred from one owner to another by simply selling stock shares of the business to whoever has the majority. And then C corps, however, are subject to double taxation, which is a nasty word. It's basically when a business is taxed both the personal, the individual, and corporate levels. Now let's talk about an S corporation, aka small business corp. Now this does require all shareholders to be an individual. S corps can only have a maximum of 100 shareholders. Shareholders may not be liable for the debt of the business. S corps are only taxed at the individual level, so there's no double taxation. Shareholders report the profits and losses of their income on the personal tax returns, meaning flow or pass through entity. That's what it's called. That's what that means when you hear that term. And like C corps, S corps are also viewed as more professional to lenders. Now, again, I gotta pause and tell you this because I am not a CPA. I'm not a professional tax person either. So to really learn the advantages and disadvantages and ins and outs for tax purposes, that's who you want to go to, right? Now, let's talk about your industry because that also matters. Now, this is a phrase you probably heard about and you may not be sure what it means. Your NAICS code, as I call it. But really, it's just an abbreviated name for your North American Industry Classification System, your NAICS codes, which is a 6-digit number that will automatically and officially classify what your business is in, the industry that your business is in. So, not word of mouth, not when you apply for something and you say, oh, this is the type of business that I have. When you apply for a loan, they're going to check your DUNS report, and they're going to be looking to see what is your next code. So you need to, make sure you figure out what that is and choose the appropriate one. Now, your code describes your primary and your secondary income producing areas of business. Now, the industry your business is in does play a major role in your ability to successfully get funded. Where I would take you to really drill down and learn, the best one for you is the actual NAICS.com/search. This allows you to drill down and find the primary industry title and the subcategory most related to your business, and go ahead and write that down. So let's go ahead and go there now so I can show you what I mean. So this is the website. Okay, so as you see here, let's say you've heard of a code or you heard of a specific category. Like let's say you've heard of business consulting. You can hit search, and it's going to show you all of the codes related to that. So that'll be 54, 16, 11. The title is Administrative Management and General Management Consulting Services, aka Business Startup Consulting Services. And then you can even look at the SIT code, which we're going to talk about soon. But that's one way to look about it. Or you can just go down to look at the what I call the general categories, and then you can drill down. So if you know you're in construction, go to construction. If you know you're in transportation, let's go to transportation and warehousing. If you're a trucker, you're trying to figure out what's the next code that I want to have. So transportation and warehousing, rail transportation, general freight trucking. You have a charter bus, right? So these are going to allow you to drill down. So let's go ahead and click on general freight trucking. So this is going to tell you, not only do you see how many businesses are listed under this code, it's going to give you a more drill down. So local, long distance truck loading, long distance, but less than truckload, right? And you can choose exactly which one you want to have. So it tells you that 48, 41, 21 is what you should be using if you have a long distance freight trucking business. All right. Then it gives you a few examples. So that is where you want to go to seek and figure out exactly which next code makes the most sense for you. Now let's talk about the SIC code, your Standard Industrial Classification Code, which are similar to the NAICS codes, but they're only 4 digits long. Now, also used, right? These are also used to classify the industry your business is in, but are less standardized. Now, SIC codes are mostly used for public sectors, and then the NAICS codes are widely used for government as well as internationally when you are talking about doing business. Now, your SIC and your NAICS code can have an equal importance. It just depends on if you are doing more national business or international business, but both codes are used by lenders to, again, identify how much of a risk your company is. Business credit and loans, right? It's all about just really one thing. If I could simplify it, when you're going to be approved or denied, it's going to be based on the fact of whether you are considered high risk or low risk. And there are high risk codes. I get asked all the time, what's the best code? Is there like a preferred next code? I can't say there's a preferred, but there's definitely the red flag code. So some lenders frown upon certain industries, and that's what it all falls down to. How strict or flexible the underwriting guidelines are based on the industry that you're in. Because there are some industries that can lead to an automatic denial, including strip clubs, X-rated product lines, pawn shops, casinos, weapon sales, and many finance related businesses. Others are simply limited to how much money they can get, like the amount of funding or the type of funding products that are made available. Now, these would include real estate, restaurant, hotels, auto sales, healthcare, travel, trucking, computer software. Now, these are not considered high risk, but the different programs that you may or may not have access to will depend or will vary based on the industry you have. If your business is considered high risk, however, just consider either leaving any descriptive words out of your business name. So if you know you're going to have a strip club, you should probably leave out triple X or dancing dolls or whatever the case may be. Like that's just not a good idea unless you're going to be funding your business by yourself, and that's not the case if you purchased this course. So do your own research based on your industry. Choosing the wrong SIC code could impact your loan approval, the credit limit that you get, your insurance premiums, and your scalability. So take your time. Don't be in a rush. Go ahead and look into different SIC codes to figure out and drill down, like we just showed you, to find the one that is best for your business. And that's it for Module 5. See y'all in Module 6. All right, welcome back. We are now in Module 6 of Week 2. And in this module, we're going to talk about your business formation. So, first things first, your registration, right? The first step to building business credit is to first, again, have a legitimate business. So no matter if your business lives in your head or you're already in operation, if it doesn't already exist on paper, it doesn't exist at all. Like that's in the eyes of the lenders. So until you've registered your business with the Secretary of State, you, my friend, are running an illegitimate business. So how do we start your business? How do we form your business the right way? Well, before we do any of that, we need to ensure that this checklist you see right here, you need to make sure you have everything, and then you can get started. So you need a desired business name and a backup name. You need the type of business entity that you plan to file. You need a physical address that will be used for your business, and you need to identify who will be listed as your registered agent. Then lastly, you need your NAICS code. Go ahead and, from the last module, choose that and have that before you get started forming your business. Now, I know a lot of you will prefer to just go to InkFile or one of these other done for you businesses, but you can save yourself a lot of money by just simply doing this yourself. It's not hard. I started every business that I have, I formed it myself with these simple 3 steps. The first, I already mentioned it in a previous module. You just search your desired name and reserve it. Go to Google, like I showed you before, type in business search and then the name of your state, and make sure you can find a name that's available that does not conflict with another business. The second step is to register your business online with the Secretary of State. So you simply start by creating an online account with your state's website, then select the business structure, list your registered agent and their info, because they're going to need the name and the address of the registered agent, and then your principal office address. This is going to be your business address, all right? Then also the phone and email address. That's going to be listed. And then lastly, go ahead and drill down and select your NAICS code. The last step is to wait 30 days until your business is completely formed. You will receive what's called the certification of organization via email and in the mail, plus the articles of organization. That's literally the whole process of forming your business. But then next, you're going to go ahead and get your tax ID, which is called your EIN number. Okay. Once you've received your business documents, not before, but once you've received those last two documents we just spoke about, then you can apply for your employer identification number. And this can be done for free. I don't think you should ever pay for an EIN number unless it's already included in one of those done for you services. But if you're just looking to go online and you Google search, EIN number, you may see some different services charging you to do that. Nope, it should be free if you do so directly on irs.gov. Now, your 9-digit EIN number will be used for everything. So it's very important. Without it, you literally can't file business taxes, you can't hire employees, or open a business bank account. And then, of course, you won't be able to build business credit or get funding. And lastly, this is what protects yourself through the corporate veil, having that EIN number that you can essentially use as your business's social security number. Now, this can be done in 3 simple steps. You go to irs.gov, which we're about to click on now. Let's go ahead and take you through the process. All right, once you're here, you see it already lays everything out for you in 3 simple steps. You're going to first determine your eligibility. Then you are going to understand the online application, which just means that you do understand what you're going through. You need to read everything. And it's pretty simple, but it will expire after 15 minutes of inactivity. So just go through it, knock it out. And then third, just submit your application. So if I click apply online now, that's going to take me to where I get started. This is what I mean by just reading everything, right? So it's just telling you about your EIN assistant and the different restrictions. You click begin the application. And then here is where, again, remember I told you, you're going to choose your entity type. So let's say you chose a limited liability corporation. Next is going to say, all right, this is what you chose. Now let me educate you on what LLC is so that you can be sure that this is what you want to go forward with. Then if you're good, it says how many people are in your LLC. So let's say there's only 3. Then it's going to ask you to choose your state. So let's say you're in Florida, choose Florida. You're going to continue. Then it's going to have you confirm your selection. Are you sure you want to choose LLC? This is a multi-member LLC when you have more than one member. You can change the type or you can move forward. Here, you're going to say, all right, why is this LLC requesting an EIN? Did you just hire employees? Are you a brand new business? Or is it for banking purposes, right? Or did you change the organization type? So this is where you're going to answer that question. And then as you can see, you're going to fill out the personal information. So you're going to authenticate. You as the owner have to put your information in here. Then you're going to move on to the address, then some more details, and then that's it. Email EIN confirmation, and you're done. So that's the full process that you go through on the irs.gov/EIN site. Now, after waiting a few weeks, you will receive an official confirmation document called the SS-4. Now, the IRS will basically give you a document with your new EIN number, and you are ready to go. Now, in the case that you don't have a computer or you're not tech savvy, you can actually just dial this number to apply over the phone, which is 1-800-829-1040, and then go ahead and select option 3 on the dial prompt. And that's it. Congratulations. You are now officially a business owner with a legitimate business. So, important notes. Annual registration is required to maintain compliance with your state. Again, this is the Secretary of State. Now, lenders and vendors will verify to make sure that your business is in good standing, before giving you that green check mark, right? That approval. So make sure you obtain all necessary licenses, permits, and security bonds required for your business based on your industry. If you have a done for you service that you're using, you want to make sure that you check the SBA's website or call government offices. This is what we call DYOR. Do your own research. If you're unsure, do your own research to figure out if there's any necessary licenses, permits, or surety bonds required. Next, improper business practices will lead to immediate shutdowns. And that's another reason why it's important to do that research and, grand opening, grand closing. That's what happens when you are operating your business without making sure you do the appropriate checks. Because if you're breaking rules, it's going to get shut down just as quick as it started. Now, top recommended business formation services, and I have them all listed here. You got Northwest Registered Agent, Zen Business, Ink File, and Rocket Lawyer, and also LegalZoom. So these are, five of the best business formation services. You'll have links to sign up for these, but if you just look those up, you can sign up for any one of those, and they'll take care of you. All right, guys, again, welcome back. We are now in module 7 of week 2. And in this module, we're going to talk about your business phone. So, what's the 411? Besides having a website, your business's phone will be very important, right? The number itself has to be one of the biggest ways lenders always will verify the credibleness, how credible your business truly is. Sam's Club is one of the ones that I can always use as a great example. They don't really care necessarily how many trade lines you have or what payment references or trade reference accounts you have. They just want to go to your website, verify that you look legitimate, call your business phone, have you pick up, or listen to your voicemail to see if this seems legit. Like, that's very important. Now, if someone calls your business phone and it's disconnected, if it says it's a Google Voice phone that you're dialing, or if your business line is clearly your personal line, listen, you will be immediately deemed inoperable, and that can lead to denials. Now, if someone calls your business phone and you answer casually, for example, without identifying your business or yourself, lenders and vendors may deem your business as high risk because they're unsure how legitimate or credible your business truly is. Your business phone is literally a lifeline to your business. Now, how do you set up your phone services for, any business you may have while saving money without potentially warning off vendors and lenders? So I have 5 rules that we're going to cover. Rule number 1, to present yourself as a legitimate business, you'll need to separate your business from your personal phone. Now, that may seem like common sense to most of you, but it's a mistake that is commonly made. Now, rule number 2 is to choose your number wisely, whether it be a local or a 1-800 number. Now, local numbers can be added to the 411 registry or directory because the 411 is actually both a local registry or listing and then also the national listing. So you want to keep that in mind. Rule number 3 is avoid using home phones and cell phones. So if you want to use a cell phone number, let me explain. There are many different apps that we will go over that you can use to add a secondary line, but it should not be the same number that you use for your everyday, personal phone calls. All right. It should be something completely separate, and you don't want to use a landline in general unless it is the phone that is in your business location, not the phone number you use or home line that you use at the crib, right? Number 4, you want to record a professional voicemail. A lot of these fintech companies, like Ring Central, GoDaddy SmartLine, they have a really great preset for when someone calls. Like if you call their business and they have Ring Central or specifically GoDaddy SmartLine, it'll say, "Hello, thanks for reaching us. Right now, our clients, well, right now we are busy assisting other clients. Please leave a voicemail." Even though it doesn't identify who the business is, it still lets you know we are servicing clients. That's clearly an indication that you had just called a business line. You can do this yourself. You can say, "Hey, thank you for calling XYZ. We are busy assisting other clients right now. Please leave a voicemail." That's all it really needs to be. It just needs to be very clear who you are calling for, of course, from the customer perspective. And then fifth, rule number 5, you need to just add that 411 directory listing. Now, this is optional, getting that business fax number. And if you have a need to have or to send transcripts or send any type of documents, of course nowadays we have DocuSign and things like that, but especially in the real estate industry, if you're going to be having clients frequently sign documents or send and receive documents, having that business fax number will add an additional layer of credibility. 411 is a local directory for domestic phone numbers. Again, I gave Sam's Club as a example. A lot of lenders, especially once you get past tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, they're going to be trying their hardest to verify whether or not you are scamming them, or you may be just someone who claims to be doing business, but you aren't actually registered and you aren't operating in such a way that makes you an official business. So having your business number added to the 411 directory just gives you that added layer of credibility. Your business and its phone number must be linked on paper. So that's what the 411 registry does. If someone looks up your business phone, they need to see the same phone number that they see on your Dun & Bradstreet credit profile. All right. Now there's 3 different ways you can do this. If you have let's say Verizon or AT&T, like one of these big name phone providers, you can just call them and say, "Hey, can you add my business number to the 411 directory?" Most of the time they can do it, of course, if you've made it very clear that this is a business line that you're paying for. Now, if you use any other like Ring Central, these other third-party virtual phones like that, you can do it yourself by going to www.listyourself.net. This is a website that you can do this. You can actually add the national listings for free, and then you have to pay for the local. So let me go ahead and show you exactly what that looks like. So when you go to list yourself, it's very simple. You see they have local listings, national listings for local businesses, and then they have individual or personal for business list or business listings. So you can create a free directory listing by clicking more. And when you go here, you'll simply fill this information out, your business phone number that you want. You have to select business, and then it's going to ask you for, to choose your category that's equal to your SIT code, right? We talked about SIT codes earlier. Your address, the reason that you wanted listing. So listed it. So right here, as you see, it says, "I want to attract new customers. My business is not real if it's not listed. Or I want my business to be found for current customers." Like, I want an online Google presence. That's really the main reason why we're doing this. But this is more of a survey. It really doesn't matter what you choose. And then you click add listing. Now, that's for, individual, but as you see here, it still works for business. But if you want to do regional, local, national, make sure you do national. That's the most important one. And this is where you're going to go through to fill out the application. Now, this is $35 per month if you decide to go this route. But again, to be completely honest, if you just go to listyourself.net, and you click here, individual or business listing, and then you just fill it out the way I did with business. This is going to add you to that database. Anything more is extra, but you can certainly add yourself to each one, to local, national, regional, if you really wanted to. But the way I showed you is really all you need to do. But this one is very, very important as well. Just the local listing, because the SEO listings is what's going to make sure, no matter what, if your business number is searched, it will be linked to your business. And it's only a $25 one-time setup fee. That's it. Now, another website you can go to is the 411businesslistingservice.com for both local and regional. Similar to the last website we were on, very, very simple. You literally click which one you want. If you click national listings, it's going to take you right to where you fill out a very short form, follow the prompts, and you're done. It's pretty simple. Just make sure your business information matches your incorporation documents, okay? Now, there are many virtual phone services available. I've already mentioned ones that I've used. And the benefits of using a virtual phone is you have a long list of numbers to choose from, both locally and nationally. Automated professional voicemails. Most of them have one already built in. If you don't want to actually use your own voice, customizable hold music is always fun. And you can set your business hours and call forwarding settings. So if you set that you're only available from 9 to 5, if someone calls that number, it won't even ring. It'll just go straight to the professional voicemail to let them know that you have contacted us outside of our business hours. Please call back again, during our business hours. You can separate your business and personal phone calls on one device, which is my favorite thing. I use GoDaddy SmartLine. So when someone is calling me personally, on my iPhone, I can see that, right? But if someone is calling me, well, technically, if somebody is calling my business line, it's going to come up with my logo, because that's what I put. And it's going to say you have a SmartLine phone call coming in. So I know exactly what to do. If I'm busy, I can let it, go to voicemail, and then the professional voicemail will take over. Hopefully they leave a voicemail. But if I'm available, I'll go ahead and answer. And I know it's not, yo, what up? I know it's going to be, hello, thank you for calling Green Scale. This is Kelvin speaking. How may I help you? Whatever the case may be, right? And most of these apps also allow you to do both managing your contact list and also text messaging, which is great. And these are the most affordable ways to add a business line versus going with the big telephone companies like T-Mobile, Verizon, AT&T, Sprint. They're going to charge you, let's say $80 a month for a new line, when you can just be paying $10 a month for, Smart Line or one of these other services, especially if it's just for one person. And that's really it for business phones. I just wanted to do a quick overview of the importance of business phones and some, cheap options for those of you who are just running a business by yourself. Now, if you have a lot of employees, like you have a virtual office or office full of people, I would recommend Ring Central. Ring Central is by far one of the best, voice over IP business services out there. So check them out. Just go to ringcentral.com. All right, welcome back, guys. We are now in module 8 of week 2. And in this module, let's talk about branding. So branding is everything. Your logo should be a visual representation of your mission statement. Your logo should be simple, with personality, but not too noisy. And you know what I'm talking about. Some of you guys, your logo is too much. Okay, it's too much. Your logo should be front and center on all digital receipts, documents, social media, and websites. If your logo isn't being used, it could lead to different lenders or vendors looking at your business as not credible. One logo is recommended for a seamless branding experience, and you can create your own logo by using graphic design websites like tailorbrands.com, or you can also hire a freelance graphic designer on Fiverr. And let me show you what I'm talking about. Just to show you how easy it is, I'm gonna take you straight to the website, and I'll bet I can create a logo within 5 minutes, maybe even shorter. So let me show you. Let's go to tailorbrands.com. All right, here we are. Tailor Brands create a logo. It's called the Logo Maker. So remember that business that I made up on the last module, a few modules ago, called Bubbles Pet Care? We're gonna make one for Bubbles. So Bubbles Pet Care is the name of our business. We don't need a tagline. Create a logo. So Tailor Brands is going to ask you a few questions. You're just going to fly through those, or you can click skip. I'm going to click skip just so we can get there faster. What are you offering? Well, Bubbles Pet Care is a service, so we're gonna go ahead and select services. Next, it's going to ask you for some information about your industry. So our industry is pet care, right? Go ahead and click next. You don't have to add anything else. And then it's going to say, now what type of logo do you want to choose? Do you want it to be icon based? Do you want it to be based on your name, or do you want it to be just an initial? So I personally want to find something that's icon based, and let's find us, we're going to search for an icon. We're going to search for like a doggy with some bubbles around it. So dog bubbles. I'm just showing you how easy this is. All right, so look at all of these different images that we can choose from. And you can click load more. I mean, they have pages and pages, but I want something colorful and playful. So look at this one right here. We're going to choose that. Now we're going to choose what type of text we like. We like handwritten, texture, um, let's see, trendy, right? These are the three types that we like. And then now it's going to literally, based on the selections that we chose, the AI is going to create different logos that we can choose from and then alter it to match our personality. So look at this. Boom, look at this one. I said I wanted it to have a cute picture. So all we got to do is click customize. I'm going to come over to color, and let's say I want this color palette. Now we come back over and boom, look at it. Literally is already showing us how it would look on a t-shirt, how it would look on a business card with my picture in the middle, how it would look on a branded website. Bubbles Pet Care, look at that. How it would look on some merch and social media, just like that. Look at how easy that was. It probably took me, what, 2 or 3 minutes to create that. So Tailor Brands is great for that. And again, you just go to the Tailor Brands logo maker. You can try it for free. You don't have to pay for the logo until you create one that you love. Or you can hire a graphic designer on Fiverr.com. You go to Fiverr.com. Matter of fact, let's do that too. So I'm going to take you guys to Fiverr. And we're going to test this out for ourselves. I'm on Fiverr. I'm going to type in business logo. And when I get here, they're always going to show you the highest rated freelancers, right? So these freelancers have over 1,000 reviews, and they are all pretty much perfect. They have a 4.9 out of 5 rating. So if I really want somebody who is tried and true, I can choose somebody from this category, or I can keep scrolling and come down to find somebody else if I want to give somebody else a chance. But look at this one, for example. This person has a perfect 5.0, and they have prices starting at $25. That's really cheap, and you can scroll through, see what you like. Okay, let's say I want to look at this one. You're going to go through, look at other examples of business logos that they've created. Then I can also click here. They have almost 8,000 reviews. That had also you can see that he has or she has 82 orders in the queue. So if I want to be added to that queue, I come right down here. I'm going to read a couple of reviews, some good, some bad. If I see too many, bad reviews, I wouldn't, even waste my time. But you can look at the different packages. This basic comes with this. You get two minimalist basic logo designs to choose from with no mascot. If you want a mascot, you got to pump up to the standard, which is $95, which is the most popular. You get three modern and professional logos. So not just one, you get three. Next, premium. For $195, you get the whole, package. And you click this arrow and it shows you everything that's included. You get four concepts. You get logo transparency, so you can put your logo on virtually anything and it'll look good. You get the vector file, which means you now own it. You get a printable file. You get the 3D mockup, which means they're going to give you a mock-up of whether it be t-shirts or whatever you want to put this logo on so you can see how it will look. And you get the source file, the stationary designs, and you will get a whole social media kit. So, Fiverr is a really, really great tool that you can utilize to take care of your branding needs. Next, the whole purpose we're going through this is so that you can become Googleable. That's going to be the word for today. I know it's not a real word. At Greenscale Academy, we can do what we want. All right. So we're going to talk about Google Me. Google Me, boo, right? When somebody comes and they're trying to figure out whether or not your business is legitimate, you just simply say, Google Me. Your business must have an online presence for added credibility. Vendors and lenders will verify the legitimacy of your business by simply doing a Google check, just like anybody off the street. The easiest way to strengthen your business's online presence is by simply creating a website and then at least two social media platforms. So, whatever you choose, it doesn't really matter. And we'll go over what I would recommend, but just at least two. It's the easiest way. So, the first thing you need to do is, of course, reserve a domain, which is your .com, and you can do that at Wix or GoDaddy.com. You can also create a website using a free online template at those websites, Wix and GoDaddy. So, matter of fact, let me show you how easy it is to create a website on GoDaddy. And my website, by the way, is from GoDaddy. So we're going to do web hosting, website and hosting, website builder. You come here, you start for free. It says your free website is just the beginning. It's mobile friendly as well. You can do this on your phone. You come here, you want to start a new website. We want to promote myself. If you are a public speaker, you want to do speaking engagements or something like that. If you want to sell goods, you choose what you want. So we're going to do a basic website. You click next. Then it's going to ask you, what type of website do you want? Photography, art gallery, real estate agent, accountant. Let's say we are into photography. We're going to click continue. What should we call your website? We're going to call this Lovely Flicks. That's the name of our business. Let's make it fun. Flix, Flix. Lovely Flicks. It's going to then ask for your phone number and email address, right? You put that in there. Now it's going to tell you to pick a template. Look at all these different templates, okay? You find the template you want or you like, and then you just edit it. So let's say we like this, the photography classic. Click continue. Now it's going to load the template that is going to allow you to play with it, customize it, and make it your own. Bam, here we go. So it says take a tour. We're gonna skip the tour because I know what I'm doing. I'm just gonna show you guys. So you come here, look at this. It's really simple. If you want to change this, you click here, go to cover media, and you can change it to a different image. You come here, you got a whole stock of other images. All right, it's pretty simple. If you want to choose something different, you can choose something different. And if you want to change this, living in art, we can say welcome to my world. Boom. Just like that. I mean, it's so easy to change this up and make it your own. It's that easy. It's that simple, guys. Of course, if you don't feel like doing that, you can just hire someone from Fiverr to do it all for you. Now, the next thing that you want to do is create a business profile with Google to feature your business on Google search. This allows your customers to easily find your location and also view your hours of operation and leave reviews. Remember, reviews are going to be one of the major things, the major selling points that will bring in new clients, new leads, new customers. Customers will also be able to learn more about your services and whatever you provide, whether it be through photos, you can look at the pictures, you can look at the different products, food, menus, and other activities will all be available. And you can sign up for this at google.com/business. But you see right here on the right, this is what it looks like. You see how you can click a button and they can call you. They can get directions. They click this, it's going to pull up Google Maps and show them how to get to you. They can save this to come back later and view you. They click this button, it goes to your website. And then here, got your address, your hours of operation. And then if you have anything else, any extras that you want to put up here to identify your business and let them know more about your business, you can put that here too. And we're definitely going to talk about these certifications later on in like week 4, 5, or 6. But these are things, if you want to identify as woman owned, it'll show right here if you got that badge. So this is all things that will, help your brand. And remember, the goal is to have several results show up in Google when someone searches your business name. The easiest way to do this is to create multiple business social media accounts. This is going to boost your online presence. Now, here are a few of the most popular options, but I'm going to tell you how I think each of these are best used. So first, the metaverse, what we call it, Facebook and Instagram, which is both two meta social media profiles. You can use these for bookings, running beautiful ads, and product reveals. Next, we have LinkedIn. LinkedIn is really good for B2B networking. If you have a product that is meant to be sold from business to business or service where you service other businesses, if you aren't taking advantage of LinkedIn, my friends, I'm telling you, you are definitely lacking. You are missing out. It's the perfect incubator for finding especially investors and things like that. Next, Pinterest. Pinterest will allow you to highlight your product and show off your work and services, of course. Twitter is good just for sharing information. If you have a business where you want to educate an audience and find new leads and customers that way, or if you're in a industry that's frequently changing, Twitter is of course perfect for that. And if you want to provide insight and if you want to build a community around your brand, Twitter is the perfect place to do that. To find like-minded individuals. Next, of course, TikTok is king of promotion. Promotion. Obviously, if you're in the music industry or anything like that, TikTok is your go-to. Your business email. You got to have a domain name in your business email. Once you get that domain in your website, it's important to add the professional business email. That includes your domain address. Example, info@businessname.com. An immediate red flag on your business credit application. That's what happens when you sign up for something or you apply for a business credit card or a loan using your personal Gmail, or even if you got business name at Gmail, business name at AOL or Yahoo, look, it's not going to fool anybody, right? That will be an immediate red flag. But when you're first getting started, like let's say you just started your business and you're just working on your, tier one accounts, you can use it in the beginning, but make sure that you upgrade because it only takes about $5 to $10 per month to pay for a professional email. So I would prefer you go ahead and get it right away to save yourself some time. That's it for module 8. Next, we're going to talk about business banking. Let's get to the nitty gritty. Let's jump into module 9 of week 2. This, my friends, is when we dive into business banking. Really important stuff. So, first things first, your business is only as old as your first bank account in the eyes of lenders. So, this is particularly important when it comes to building business credit. So, even if you've been in business for 3 years, but you just opened your first business checking account, 6 months ago, your business is considered to be 6 months old. All right. When opening your first business checking account, you will need the following. You'll need the articles of incorporation, your EIN document from the IRS, which should have been sent to you via email, and a physical copy, right, in snail mail. Your business should be in good standing with the Secretary of State. Your personal ID, including all authorized users for that business, and funds to put into the account, of course. Now, all business info must be identical on all forms and documentation, including name and address of your business. Some banks will allow you to open an account online, while others require you to come in person to work with a personal banker. It just really depends on the bank. Now, obviously, if it's a fintech bank, you don't have to. But if you're going with Wells Fargo or Navy Fed or Bank of America, you will have to go into the bank. So bring all of those documents we just discussed. Now, this is important. Yes, you can open an account with more than one bank, but let me be very clear about this. The key is to stay with the same bank or banks, meaning like maybe two banks. And this is going to be very important when you start building your business credit and your business's ability to get funding, because you will need to build relationships. I got a whole module on that, later on in like week 5 or so. So the longer your history is with the bank, the more funding opportunities you will have. And if you're determined to work with multiple banks, no more than two, again, like checking and savings, it's all you really need. Let's say you have checking with one and then you have savings with another, just so you can establish and build business credit or build a banking relationship with another bank, then that's the way, I would do it. Now, in my opinion, having both a business checking and a business savings with one bank is the best, because you are, building that excellent rapport, and you're going to be building onto your bank rating, which we're going to talk about soon. Building relationships with banks is how you get those 6-figure loans. Let's talk about how to find the right bank. Now that you know how to open a bank account, you need to ensure you make the right decision and the right choice on the bank that's right for you. All banks are not created equal. Identify your needs. Choosing the right bank has a lot to do with your specific needs for your business. You want to explore what services each bank has to offer. For example, do they offer both business lines of credit and corporate credit cards? Believe it or not every bank gives you or has a business credit card option. If so, who issues their bank card, right? Is it a Visa? Is it a MasterCard? Is it an American Express? These are things to ask and to figure out ahead of time. Do they offer unsecured credit cards or CD loans that can help you build business credit? How soon are funds from credit card transactions made available? Is it 24 hours? Is it 72 hours? Is this bank a member of the SBFE, the Small Business Financial Exchange? We'll also go over that later. Is this bank approved by the SBA? Right? Does your bank offer SBA loans? Are they an approved SBA lender? That's a huge one. And if so, do they offer microloans? Does the bank integrate with spend management software like QuickBooks? Right? And is there a mobile friendly website or app that this bank can provide to you? And these are just a few questions you want to ask when choosing the right bank for you. Next, let's talk about merchant accounts. In order to do business and accept debit or credit cards as a form of payment, you will need a merchant account. Now, merchant accounts will process all debit and credit card transactions for a small fee or percentage as a convenience to your business. Some banks do offer in-house merchant services, but major banks don't. So you'll need to find a third party to take care of this. And the highest rated merchant services do include Clover, Flagship, Pro Merchant, and Payment Cloud. A few more, you have LMS, which is the leaders merchant services, and also Square and PayPal. Those are probably the two that we are all most familiar with. Now, there are other merchants out there that specialize in working with specific industries. So, again, Dior, do your own research and figure out which ones are best for your industry, your business. And then in module 10, we're going to jump into your bank rating. So stay tuned. All right, guys, we have made it officially to the final and 10th module for week 2, and we're going to talk about bank rating. So, your bank rating gives the lenders an idea of how much or how little cash flow your business has. Your bank rating will either tell a lender how well your business is performing and how well your business's cash flow is being managed. It also gives insight into whether or not your business is struggling financially. Is your business on the struggle bus, or are you driving your way smooth selling to success? Now, your bank ratings can lead to automatic denials when applying for business credit and funding. Your bank rating is based on the average daily minimum balance over a 3-month period. So the number one rule will be to always maintain a positive cash reserves and never, ever empty your accounts. That's a big no-no, because a negative or low balance will surely lead to automatic denials. Now let's look at what your bank ratings are and the different scales of realistically where you could potentially land. So your bank ratings range anywhere from nominal, which is the very bottom, that's the pit, all the way up to a 10, which is rare, but we'll cover all the way up to a high 6. Now, nominal means you either have a negative account balance or you have up to $99. So anywhere from zero or a negative in the red up to $99 is considered nominal. Now, the low to a moderate risk or low to moderate 3 is what we call anywhere from $100 to $699. And what I'm talking about when I say these numbers, I'm talking about at the end of the month, right? Let's say you got cash coming in. Remember, there is a date that the banking institution will provide you with the statement for that date, for that month. That monthly statement, whatever your cash balance is, that is what these numbers are based off of. Now, a high 3 is if you have at the end of the month anywhere from $700 to just under $1,000 remaining. Low 4 to medium 4 is $1,000 up to just under $7,000 remaining. A low 5 to a medium 5 bank rating means you have 10,000 up to just under 70,000. So when you are getting started or you are a young business, this should be your goal. At least get to the minimum $10,000 range. That'll put you in a really good spot. Now, above that, you have a high 5, which is 70,000 to just under 100K. Low 6 to a medium 6 is when you have over $100,000, but under 700K. And then a high six is when you get just below $1 million status. So that's 700,000 or more, but just under 1 million. And then, the high seven and up is going to be when you are in those $1 million ranges. So that is what we call your bank rating. So let's go ahead and do a review of everything that we've talked about thus far in week 2. We have broke down each and every single one of the 8 keys of having a legitimate and credible business. So before you go into the next week, which is week 3, because I'm going to go ahead and tell you in week 3, that's where we're going to be literally teaching you how to build and establish business credit. But you don't qualify for that unless you have these 8 things taken care of. So go ahead and write these down. And I want you to make sure you have a check mark by each of these before you go into week 3. So remember, the first is a business name, domain, and logo. All right. It's not enough to just be doing business. You need to have the name and domain, meaning your website, right? And the logo. Next, you want to have a physical business address. Remember, we talked about if you are a home-based business, unless you're okay with everyone seeing and knowing where you live, because this will be public information, you need to go ahead and, pay the money because it's not going to be much, right? Pay the money that it takes to get you a virtual office. Give yourself that corporate look, that corporate vibe. Otherwise, if you have a brick and mortar, you're good. Just go ahead and use that, but update it every time it changes. Third, you want to have a business phone with a professional voicemail and have it listed with the 411 directory, whether that be locally, regionally, or nationally. It needs to be listed with the 411. That makes it official and that links your business name to your business phone. And that needs to be changed every time there is a new phone number. Next, you want to actually have an entity formed with the Secretary of State with a good NEX code. Remember, I know back in the day, if you had a business, as long as you had a business and you were filing taxes, or if you had a business in general that you were making money with, you can call yourself a business owner. But on paper, that's what we call an either inoperable business or an illegitimate business. So you need to do the legwork to go ahead and either do it yourself, because I've already shown you how, or hire one of those done for you businesses to form your business the right way and choose the appropriate NAICS code and the appropriate SIC code. Remember, we talked about those already. Next, you want to have your business tax identification number, which is what we call the EIN. This is free. Don't pay for your EIN. Go right on over to irs.gov and get that squared away. You'll have it in just a few weeks. It's not right away, but you'll get it soon. Next, you want to have a professional email address. No Ymail, no AOL, no Gmail. You want to have a professional one. Now, let me preface this. Google, aka Gmail, they actually do provide you with a professional Gmail email service. It's called G Suite. So when I say no Gmail, like you can, if you actually pay for your domain for your professional email account with Google, cool. But what I mean is, remember, no business name at Gmail. It should be info at business name, or your name at business name, or support at business name. Next, you need to have a strong online presence. You need to be Googleable. Remember, that's our name, or that's our word and key term of the week. You want to become Googleable. The easiest way to do that is through social media outside of having your website. And then last, you want to do your own research to make sure that any required licenses, permits, surety bonds, or insurances are held that you absolutely need to have. So stop right here and make sure that you have all 8 keys of having a legitimate and credible business before you proceed to week 3, because this is what you need to qualify for business credit. And that's what we're about to dive into. So once you have all 8 of those keys, you may move forward, and I'll see you soon in week 3. All right, guys, welcome back. I hope you enjoyed the information that I just shared with you. Again, that was a sample of what you get inside of Greenscale Academy. Right now, I'm hosting a private community on School, which is called Greenscale Academy. You can easily just search it on there or just go to greenscaleacademy.com. And so what you just watched was actually week 2 of 6 weeks that I put into my academy. We're talking about well over 60 videos, none of which are on YouTube. And the last week that we just finished watching here in this video is called Business Fundamentals. So that's from forming your entity, getting the right bank, and positioning yourself to begin the business credit or business funding journey. So the next week, which is week 3, that's where we dive into everything you need to know from A to Z in terms of business credit. And that, my friends, is where you'll also access my blueprint for consumers with bad credit and consumers with good credit. Because when it comes to business loans and business credit, you, my friends, will have to stand forward with your chest out and have a responsible and documented good payment history that you can lean on, all right? And yes, that does mean if you have excellent personal credit, you do kind of get a shortcut, right? You don't have to take as long to build and scale business credit. So again, thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your morning, afternoon, or evening, and I'll catch you guys on the next video.